So, welcome, parents. My name is Rachael Gerbic, and I am the new secondary school counselor at RAS. And so, I've been here almost 2 months in Morocco, a very short time on a relative scale, and a very unique time, as you know. But we're going to make this happen. And I think this parent evening is just the beginning of that. Like things will have to look a little bit different, but that's okay. I do want to let you know that I've been a counselor in 7 different international schools, and I've always done the college counseling, which is the focus of our meeting tonight. And so there is a system. Students have always gone off to university if they have chosen to do that. And there is a process, and that actually doesn't change at all during COVID. That process is still the same. So that's what we're going to talk about today. I'm going to let you know about the process for the students, and also for you as parents, and for me as the counselor, just our timeline and what students kind of need to be doing at different times during their last 2 years of high school. As a matter of fact, I start college counseling or university counseling, and I'll use those terms interchangeably because I'm from the US, and in the US we use the terms interchangeably. Some schools are called universities, others are called colleges, and really that used to maybe be a little bit different, but now we have, we kind of use those terms, we use either one of those terms. Sometimes we have larger universities with individual colleges within them. So you have the University of Arizona and you'll be in the College of Arts and Sciences. So it kind of depends which system you're talking about, but I'll use the terms interchangeably. I am a licensed therapist, and I've worked, as I said, in 7 different international schools. And I really like to bring in, the more social emotional side of counseling to college counseling. A lot of schools are going in the direction of separating those roles. And to me, it seems like a very emotive process to prepare for university and choose where to go and send your child off to maybe a very distant land. So for me, those two really go hand in hand, and I try to use a lot of mindfulness in the process of students reflecting on where they want to go and what they want to do, and ultimately making a choice that's the best for them. So I try to blend the social emotional part of my role with the college counseling part of my role. That's a little bit about me. I'm going to share a presentation with you, and I'll just walk through it. And again, please feel free to just unmute yourselves if you have a question at any time. So let me see if I can do this. Okay, so my screen is looking a little bit funny. Hang on one second while I get this set up. Can everyone see the screen now? Understanding the college admissions process and timeline? Is everyone able to see?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yes.
So, whoops. So yeah, so I just want to go actually to this slide. RAS, like many other schools, international schools around the world, uses a program called the Bridge U. And you can see here that the process actually starts in grade 9. So we're coming together because I knew I wanted to meet with all of you, but in subsequent years, we'll be meeting starting in grade 9. Is someone trying to get in? Let's see. Okay. Yeah, so I start with grade 9, just helping students to explore their strengths and their interests. And we have special tasks in BridgeU, our college and university search platform, that the students do at different points throughout their high school year. So high school being grade 9 through grade 12, the same years as their transcript. So students start to explore and just think about university from an interest perspective. And then moving into grade 10, we look more at careers and start to research different careers that are suited to our personalities. And then which subjects you might study that go along with those careers. What subjects lead to the career that you want to study. Because in grade 10, it's really important to be selective about your subject choices. Some universities, some university programs will require specific courses within the IB to be able to enter directly. So students are encouraged in grade 10 to really start looking at that and figuring out which subjects they need to take within the IB program to go off to university and apply to the program that they want to apply to. And then, of course, in grade 11, we're looking at universities. Hopefully, we'll be having some college, university fairs on campus. We have plenty of university visits that come through, even virtually right now. So students are encouraged to check out the links that I send each week, actually, in the hotline that just allow them to talk to university reps around the world from all different universities. And this is kind of a good opportunity that it's done virtually. I know it's much more exciting to talk to the reps in a big college fair, but this is a great opportunity for them to just check in with reps and start relationships with different schools through those Zoom meetings. So that's a great opportunity, and I encourage you to join those as well. We look towards the end of grade 11 at writing the essay or the personal statement. Essays are used more in North American universities in the US and Canada, and the personal statement is used in the UK for UCAS, which is their application platform. Then usually, now I'm coming in this year, so I'm working with grade 12s on this now, but usually by the end of grade 11, they will have asked their teachers to write recommendations for them. So it doesn't mean that they would actually write the letters in grade 11, but it means they would have selected the teachers and they would have gotten an agreement from teachers to say, yes, I'll be happy to write for you. Because at the start of grade 12, we're really just finalizing the university list and moving into applying. And that usually happens, I like to set an internal deadline of December 1st for any supporting documents like letters of recommendation, so that all of the documents are there and students can feel confident that everything's going to be in and in place for them when they send in their application. So here we go. This is kind of what I talked about, but I'm going to jump ahead a little bit to grade 11 because today we're grade 11 and 12 parents. I will be meeting with all of the students at least 4 times to go in BridgeU and do some of those inventories to get them ready to create their resume or CV and to really start building their interests list and find subjects that match those interests, and then college majors and programs they want to apply it to. So that all starts in grade 11, and we'll map out 4 I call them college counseling classes that I meet with them to go over the process so that it's not stressful and it's not last minute and it doesn't happen just right before the deadline. They should really be doing it over the course of the 4 years, and especially over the last 2 years. We are lucky enough to be a testing site at RAS for the PSAT and the SAT. And the students in grades 10 and 11 will sit the PSAT, the practice SAT, on October 14th. So they actually get 2 chances at RAS to just take that practice version of the Scholastic Aptitude Test. And that's a great opportunity for them because the PSAT gives students feedback on areas that they might need to improve in. So it doesn't get sent to universities. It's not high stakes. It's information for them and information for us as a school as well, to see which areas we really need to improve in and work harder in and focus on. I don't encourage students to take the SAT in grade 11 until the end of the year. So we would offer that test, the SAT, in May and June. And I would say that's a good time to start taking the SAT. Students can take the SAT as many times as they want. There will be about 5 test dates that they can register for that are all valid for their university admissions process in their grade 12 year. So I would say in grade 11, if you're a grade 11 parent right now, the most important thing for students to be doing is just working hard in their classes. You know, really developing their skills, really working in the areas that they need to improve in. The transcript or the record of their grades is going to be a key component of their process, of their admission. So that's the main thing that a grade 11 student should be doing. I don't want them worried about taking tests and things like that. At the end of the year, after they've learned a whole bunch in all different areas, they'll be able to sit those tests and feel more confident. They'll have that much more learning under their belt. And then they can take it again in grade 12 a number of times. And they'll be more confident. I usually recommend that students, if they are going to take the SAT, that's usually required for North American universities, that they take it twice, at least twice, because scores tend to go up the second time, just with familiarity of the test and students just feeling more confident and understanding the test configuration. So this is just going back to what I said about grade 10 IB courses. At the end of grade 10, they're selecting their courses, moving into the programs that they want, maybe towards university. And a lot of students don't know. They're not sure in grade 10 what they want to study, and that's okay. What they should do is choose the courses that they're most interested in and that they feel they can do their best in, right, within the categories of the IB. Some students, however, if they know for sure they want to go into engineering, for example, they're going to want to take a higher math course. So if you do know your course of study, it's important that you research what the requirements are at each university so that you're meeting those with your course choices in grade 10. So I'm going to go, I'm going to start with like a big picture view and then we'll kind of go smaller. So again, if there are any questions, let me know. Or if I'm getting ahead of myself here, you just let me know. So universities want to see that students are ready for that the college level work, right? They want to see that the students are capable of managing that level of work. And that's what's great about the IB program, because all of our students do IB, whether they do the full diploma or certificates, all of our students in grade 11 and 12 are in the IB program. So that says to universities that they're taking the most rigorous course of study that they can in high school. And the IB program is very highly regarded and is considered like taking college level courses during high school. So they know the level of rigor that the students are going through. Depending on the university system, where you are in the world, let me just see if somebody's waiting. Hang on one second. Oops. Where you are in the world, they're going to be looking at extracurricular involvement, you know, other activities, leadership that you've been involved in outside of the classroom. This is very important in North American universities. They really want, as much as they want to see a strong academic record, they also want to see a student who's really involved in their campus life, in their community, that's really adding to all of the community there at their school. They're looking for character, resilience, and grit. They want to see students who bounce back from setbacks. A lot of our students have moved countries, you know, right in the middle of their high school years, and that's challenging. They get a chance to talk about that in their essays and personal statements. They want to see that students are able to handle being there, right? Handle the rigors of university level work. Any special talents, they're always interested in that. So if you're a musician or an athlete, those kind of things can help to increase your profile to universities. Definitely, they love, all universities want to increase their international populations and have a very international perspective on campus. And so that is actually a plus for our students that are coming from these international schools. It really, they love to see our students from all over the world. So we're lucky in that regard. This is what I go over first with the students. So students, when they say, okay, I need to apply to university, what does that mean? They will send in their application, which is just some basic information about them, where they go to school, their name, their grades, things like that. They'll submit their essays or their personal statement, like I mentioned. They'll have a chance to talk about their involvement in school in those personal statements. And again, if you're applying to North American universities, you have a chance to write in all of the different activities you've been involved in, the awards you've received, any kind of service activities you've been involved in. All of your extracurricular involvement is considered in the application. Then, of course, SAT scores. SAT 1 is the math, English, and writing scores, and ACT is the American College Test. That's sort of, you can submit one or the other. The SAT seems to be more common here. And then the fee. That's from students. So I send, from my part, I send the student's transcript of their grades. So that's their official grades from grade 9 through 12. And if the student went to another school and they transferred in, we just attach that transcript from the previous school to our RAS transcript. So we don't blend them, but we just attach it. And then that makes up the full transcript from grade 9 through 12. And I wrote this here: grades are always seen in context, because we send what's called the school profile with the transcript. And so grades are seen in context. They want to see that you got good grades in a very strong program. So as I said, our students are all taking IB courses, so the level of rigor is already considered. So it doesn't matter that you got a perfect grade if you took all easy classes, which isn't possible at our school, but in some schools you could maybe choose easier classes and get good grades, but that wouldn't have as much weight as taking really challenging courses and doing a little bit less well. I also send the teacher letters of recommendation. And by the way, everything gets sent through our platform, BridgeU. So everything is loaded there, it's saved there, and then when everything is ready, I hit send. So the teacher letters of recommendation are there, and we usually recommend that students select 2. Most universities will allow 2. The British universities, the UCAS system is just 1. And students are encouraged to choose a person that has worked with them in their area of study that they're going to be working in. So if they know they want to be, they're going to be studying a math program, they want to ask their math teacher to write for them. And then I just always tell students to ask another teacher who they just know loves the heck out of them. Somebody who really knows them, knows what kind of effort they put in, knows the kind of person they are, and can really speak highly about them as a student in the school. So 2 letters of recommendation from teachers, and then I write for every student, which is a little bit funny as a new counselor, right? You're thinking, she doesn't even know my child. And that is actually true. I don't yet. But what I do is I send out a profile and I have the students tell me all about themselves. I ask a lot of different questions, and then I follow up with an interview afterward to sit with each of the students to really get a sense of who they are, what they're interested in, and what they've been involved in school, and what they really want to highlight, they want me to highlight in their recommendations. So sometimes your grades don't show the whole picture, right? I want to know if a student is spending every weekend volunteering, for example, or they're the first one in their family to go to university, things like that. So I add all of that into my counselor letter of recommendation, which also includes information about character. What kind of person is this student showing up as every day? Are they helpful? Are they outgoing? Are they asking questions? Are they a good community member? Those are the kind of things that I'm highlighting, because I don't have them in class, so it's not an academic letter, but more about all of the things that the student is doing in a broad sense. And then predicted grades go out to some country systems operate on predicted grades, and I'm actually in the process of collecting those right now. So I get predicted grades from the teachers of the courses the students are in right now. The predictions are early, but they need to be because the systems are not all at the same time. So official predicted grades, I think, come out in, I want to say February, but predicted grades for university purposes come out in about 2 weeks. So all grade 12 students will be receiving those in the coming weeks, and they'll have a good sense of where they are predicted to be when they sit the actual IB exams. Any questions so far? I know I said a lot. I've just put up here some resources. I hope that all of the grade 12 parents have had a chance to look at the college and university handbook that I put together. BridgeU, you can log in, you can ask your son or daughter to show you BridgeU and what's on there. Right around now, students should be adding their university choices in BridgeU, and that's how I'll know which schools they'll be applying to and where to send their documents. I do write an article each week for the hotline so that to keep you up to date on what's happening for social emotional counseling, but also for college and university counseling. And then also I'm just keeping you posted on the college fairs and university visits. And again, those are virtual, but they're happening every week. We've got lots and lots coming in. I update that every single
How do
day.
you do a signal?
Do you have a question?
I have a question.
Yeah.
It's me, Stephanie.
Hi.
I just asked a question on chat. I don't know if you're following it,
I'm
but
so
one
sorry.
of the questions.
Could you just ask it out loud? That would be helpful to me because I've got a couple things open here and I don't see the chat. I apologize.
That's no problem. Okay. Can you mute that volume? Sorry, my husband is also on a different computer. So my question was just that, our 11th grade student has not taken a physics course or a chemistry course. He's only taken the 9th and 10th grade curriculum. Can students like that still do well on the SAT? Because I don't know, back in my day, you needed to take chemistry and physics to do
Well,
okay on that.
yeah, that's a great question. He's in grade 11, right? So he's going to
Yes.
have a full year of study before taking the SAT. Like I said, I recommend taking it at the end of grade 11, so maybe May or June. And um, uh, the SAT is math and English and writing. So he should be able to do okay. He's going to get a chance in October, in about a week and a half, he's going to take the PSAT. So we'll be able to see, how's he doing at this time in these different areas. But it is just math and English and writing. So he should be okay without taking chemistry. But again, when he takes the actual SAT, he will have already had a full year, right? Is he taking chemistry as one of his subjects?
No, he's taking the biology.
Oh, he's taking biology. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, he should be okay because it covers math, English, and writing only. Does
Hi,
that?
Rachel.
Yes.
Hi. I was wondering about the PSATs. Is it optional? My daughter has already taken the PSATs, and we got an idea of what kind of score and what she needed to work on. And we're going to only be applying to Canadian universities. And I think none of them require the SAT. So my question is whether we really need to, do the PSAT or SAT.
Well, at this particular school, I've been in 7 different international schools, so all schools are different. But in this particular school, I think this is actually an amazing opportunity. The students get to take it twice, and I say "get to" makes it sound like it's a wonderful thing, right? But it is a wonderful thing in that it gives them the opportunity to just see their own growth. So it's not optional. All students who are on-campus students, but this year because of COVID, we have on-campus learners and off-campus learners. But all the on-campus learners are expected to come to school that day and take the exam. It's not high stakes. It doesn't get sent out to universities, and I understand. Yeah, it might not seem very relevant, but it's a great opportunity for students to just see how they're doing in certain areas. So they'll take the test. It takes about 3 hours. All of the students will be taking it in their grade level, and then it'll just be feedback for you. Any other questions at this stage?
Yes, just one question. You mentioned that the predicted grades will be given on February. Is just for grade 12 or also for grade 11?
The grade 11s will also get their predicted grades, I believe, at the end of their grade 11 year. The predicted grades for grade 12, the official ones, are given out in, I believe it's February, and the college ones, the predicted grades used for university have to come out earlier because we have early application deadlines that require those predicted grades before they've ever taken their exams. So it feels too early, but again, they are predictions. A lot of the universities, like for example, the UK, you can get a conditional offer based on your predictions, right? Your predicted grades. So the teachers are saying you're likely to meet these grades for this program, and then the university can offer and say, great, we really like you as a student, we're going to give you a conditional offer, and then if you meet those grades, you're in. So that's how the predicted grades work in admissions. But they are being collected early just for the purpose of university admissions, because the process happens earlier than the IB program happens. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other question? Oops. Oof. Here's a big long list for students. So the next slide is my responsibility. So I just like to put this out here because I think it's important to be clear on everyone's role in the process. So for students, it really is their job to research universities, to talk to the reps when they come onto campus, to read the handbook, to keep track of their own, their schoolwork. That's always the most important thing. Obviously, if they're up against a deadline, they've got to get that done for university, but not at the expense of their high school work, because their work in their classes is really the most important thing. And some students, they want to apply early. For example, in the United States, we have something called early action or early decision. And students can apply in usually November and find out early if they've gotten in, and then they can make their decisions early. But if a student is really struggling to meet that deadline, I don't encourage them to apply early. They can just wait till the regular deadline and apply by January, usually by January 1st. So yeah, so my job is to work with the student and just make sure they're balancing their applications with their schoolwork. I do need them to meet with me, so I'll be meeting with them anyway in classes, but as the year goes on and the grade 11s start to get more active in their university search, then I'll be meeting with them, and I'll be meeting together with you as parents at the end of the grade 11 year. And for grade 12 parents, I've met with a number of you already, which has been a joy. And I encourage those of you who haven't scheduled a parent meeting to do so. We meet together with your son or daughter, and we just talk about what your plans are as a family for going off to university. It's the student's responsibility to meet deadlines. That's really important. I won't know I won't know when a student needs to send their application. That is for them to take charge of. They need to get their documents in before the deadline. But the way that I help with this is I set our internal deadline as December 1st. So that means all the recommendations are already stored in BridgeU by that day. That means all transcripts are loaded in BridgeU by that day. And that means students have told me where they plan to apply by that day. So even if the deadline is later than December 1st, which it is, even if it's January 1st or February 1st, students can feel confident knowing all of their supporting documents are there in BridgeU waiting to be sent, or sent ahead of time. They don't have to go on the same day. I can send supporting documents to a university ahead of time, and then the students can follow up with their application that meets the deadline. It's the student responsibility to schedule our parent meetings, to talk to you about that and get those meetings scheduled, and to send in their application and test scores. I don't send test scores because they have to come directly from the student. The student has to request their own test scores to be sent to universities, and I can help them with that. And then just to keep us both, parents and me as counselor, updated on where they are in the process. Do they need help? Are they struggling with their essay? Do they not know how to link their application with our school? All of those kind of things. I'm talking to them regularly at school, but they also need to be keeping us updated on where they are. So that no one's getting stressed in the process. I want everyone to feel confident and calm. There is a process and it works. You just have to keep chipping away at this process. So what can you do as a parent? I think there's a lot of stress around university applications. It's a big life decision, and in many cases students are going off to different parts of the world. Maybe they're not able to visit those places before they go, so it's a big decision, and it's a lot of money in many cases, and it feels like probably the biggest decision they've had to make so far. So what I encourage you to do is to reach out to me with any questions, so that students aren't feeling pressured or stressed at home, with questions that you're asking them and maybe they don't know, or they just feel pressured to move forward in the process and they're not actually needing to do that. So if you read the College and University Handbook, that will be helpful. I realize I haven't sent that out to grade 11 parents, so I will do that. I'll make a note of that, because you can just read ahead and then you'll know what's happening in the process. Support, talk, help. Provide friendly reminders. I think a lot of what happens is parents get anxious in the process, and then it gets passed down to the student who's already managing a lot with their IB program. So again, attend these sessions, read the handbook, ask me questions so that you're really familiar with the process and where your child should be and what they should be doing, and they're not getting extra pressure that's not necessary. Students will need help with proofreading essays and maybe going through the application. They're going to need a lot of information from you. They'll need help filling out financial forms if that's something that you're doing. And then definitely, if you can, in sort of normal times, we can visit schools. So usually I recommend that after, like grade 11, students like to go and visit an area where they're going to look at a few schools. So if it's Europe, you're traveling, maybe taking a trip to really target a few schools, or you're going to the US or Canada, if that's possible. I know that's not possible for everyone. I'm going to move ahead. You can ask questions at any time, but I'm just going to move ahead here to show you sort of the timeline, because I wanted to share this timeline with you so you know where your child should be in the process. Like I said, take the PSAT in October. Sorry, that should say all 10th and 11th grade students. I apologize. Attend the virtual college visits, talk to reps. This is something that I encourage you to encourage your children to do. I think a lot of times young people maybe don't feel confident talking to a college rep. And then they miss an opportunity, because the reps are here, even virtually, because they want your students on their campuses. So it's a great opportunity to make a connection, get information. There's no commitment. It's not that they have to apply, but they might find out some really good information. They could find out about scholarships. They could find out about special programs that they wouldn't otherwise know about. And the reps keep track of how often students contact the university. So if you are interested in a university and your university comes to visit your school and you don't talk to the rep, I would say that's a real missed opportunity. So definitely reach out to the reps. They're just people like me on the other side who are there to promote their university, and they're looking for great students who would make a good fit. So it's a great, I will encourage them, but please do that as well. And you can also talk to reps. You can always email an admissions office. There will be people there to answer your questions about programs at the university. So that's what they're there for. I would recommend reaching out. It's usually just, you know, if you look on their website, you can find the admissions office and you just send an email. So in grade 11, semester 1, they're usually working on the strategy advisor, which helps them to create their sort of like all of their experiences in one place and create their resume, their CV. And they also use the careers tool in BridgeU to research college majors that match their interests and then careers that come from those. And then we usually recommend that students dedicate their time to a few chosen extracurricular activities. Some students think, okay, I'll just, you know, join everything and, you know, really make my college applications look good. But that's just going to stress them out, and that's not necessary. What we recommend is that, you know, usually starting in grade 9, that they pick a few things that they really want to dedicate themselves to and really put their energy into those. You don't have to be on every team and be the head of every club. It's just choosing a few things that you enjoy and you can do a good job at. And then just work hard in your classes. That's the main thing always. I'm going to keep emphasizing that. And then semester 2, they're going to keep working hard. They're going to start to choose their universities toward the end of grade 11. They're going to do their university matches, and those are going to be in BridgeU and stored there. They're going to think about a summer program that they might want to do, or maybe visit colleges. And they're going to plan for that SAT or ACT at the end of the school year, once they've finished most of their coursework, and they can take that test and do well. And then we usually say students should apply to 10 or fewer universities. Can I ask that everyone just mutes their mic? Unless you have a question, of course.
I have a question.
Sure.
I'm actually got a daughter in the school we're probably going to be going to the UK in the university system there. Great. So actually, could you explain to me, and maybe other people don't know what it is, but what is BridgeU?
Yes, thank you for your question. So BridgeU is our university and career search and application program. So it's an online program that our school uses, and I've used it at other international schools as well. BridgeU is a place where students, guided by me, will do inventories starting in grade 9 that start to get them thinking about what they would like to study, what they're interested in, what are the majors or concentration areas that match their interests, and what kind of careers come out of those majors. So they do all of their work over the course of their high school years in BridgeU. And then when they're getting towards the end of grade 11, they have a good idea about what they want to study and the universities that have the program that they need, that they want. So we use BridgeU for students to prepare themselves and do the research. But on my side as a counselor, I use BridgeU to actually send all of the documents for students. Now, that isn't the case for UCAS. So if your child is going to apply through UCAS to UK universities, I will send everything through UCAS. But nonetheless, we'll still collect all of the university information for where they're going in BridgeU. It's like our storage place for everything university. It helps us also keep track of where RAS students apply and get in. So everything is still done there, but the actual application might go out in a different format. Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense, but the only thing is that my daughter's a new student at RAS, so she's not had any access to Bridgeview
Right.
up to now. So is there any point in her going down that line, or should we just basically focus on the fact that we're going to go down the UCAS route?
Oh no, I mean, you know, it's not really one route or another. She actually did have a class on Friday. I don't know if she attended, but I had class with all of the grade 11s to start their process in Bridgeview. And I will continue to meet with students to get them on Bridgeview to start doing some of those, a bit of research to help them narrow down their choices. So she doesn't need to choose one or the other. We'll do the classes in Bridgeview together. I'll be actually with the students or online with the students. Because the cohorts can't mix, I can't meet with them together, but I could go into one and then the other. Or what we did on Friday is we met on a Zoom call and we started some work in Bridgeview. So I'm gonna make a little note of that to check in with her. But ultimately, in grade 12, a student applying to UK universities will apply through UCAS, and I will send all supporting documents through UCAS, not through Bridgeview.
Could I ask one more question? Thank you very much for explaining that, by the way. I've had one daughter that already has actually been through the UK university system, and quite a lot of gravitas is actually placed on the personal statement, or what you would call the essay for the American applications. And I was just a little bit surprised when you were saying that you like to encourage students to do that sort of like between the time scale of March to June. So for my daughter, that would be March to June 2021. And my only concern is that certainly with my other daughter, that wouldn't have been so much of a problem because she had quite a full program with things that she could actually include on a personal statement with regards to extracurricular activities, involvement in things like Model UN, things like, you know, sporting things after school. My only concern is obviously the grade 11s now are going to be the first university applicants that have been impacted by the whole COVID thing, where, you know, they've been severely restricted as to what they can do outside the home.
Yeah.
And I'm just wondering, are they actually going to be sort of like, I was thinking October is normally the time that we would try and get our personal statement completed by. And I'm just thinking that next summer, 2021, is going to give extra time for hopefully things to open up so that we can get these extra things into the kids' itineraries and onto that personal statement. I don't know what you think about that.
No, I think you're absolutely right. I think, yeah. So definitely universities are being super lenient with, and just they're going about it a little bit differently, you know, this year and probably into the future, because of exactly what you said, because students haven't had access to their normal activities that they would be able to write about. So, you know, universities know that, and they're being very flexible with that. It's listed as in Bridgeview in that time frame that I mentioned, and that's where we talk about how to write the essay or the personal statement. They don't necessarily need to have a finished version of it by that time, but it's when we start to talk about it and we start to work on some essay questions. Like in the Common App from the US, for example, there are 5 that you can choose from, 5 essay questions. So we would start to work on those and just see what you might say. How could you express yourself to universities? How can you tell them all of the things, you know, that make up who you are? How do you say that in, you know, 1 page? So we just start work on it. They wouldn't have a final version until right around now. Yeah. Did that answer your question?
Yes, it did. Thank you.
I did send out as well there is a College Board video applying to university during a pandemic, and I encourage you all to access that. I've posted it in the bulletin last week, I believe, and I'll post it again for Friday this week. But just to see how universities are responding and it's for students and parents, and just how, you know, students are supposed to go about this process in this very weird time. I have to say, so I normally attend, I've been a college counselor for many, many years in lots of different schools and in different parts of the world. And I attend lots of conferences and where universities are there and high school counselors are there. So, you know, I've been attending those online more recently. And really what I'm hearing from everyone is that, you know, universities want to get students back on campus. They want to have these students have a chance. They know that things have been difficult. They know that people have been in complete lockdown situations. So they are completely aware of all of that, and they're being super flexible. I'm guessing that it might be, you know, one of the best times to get into programs because, you know, so many people are not traveling and are not able to do this the same way that they've done before. So, you know, it may end up being something that works in students' favor in the big picture, because really universities want to get kids on campus. It's not, you know, they're doing everything possible to make that happen. What can we do? Okay, any other questions on that? So this says narrow down your college list to 10 or fewer. Obviously, if you're applying to more than one country, which many of our students do, they might apply to UCAS, you know, schools in the UK, and they might say, I'm going to submit a number of applications in the US. And that is okay, because if you're applying to different programs, different countries, then you'll have to increase your options. So just work with me and we'll decide on where, you know, what seems like a reasonable number. Usually UCAS is going to be considered one application, or the University of California is going to be considered one application, because it goes out, it's one application sent to many universities. And then grade 12, semester 1, this is where a lot of your students are right now. I've asked them to please complete the student profile. That's that document that they're going to tell me all about themselves, and they're going to come and meet with me, and they're going to meet together with you and me, so we can all talk and know what's available, what is possible. I do encourage them to take the SAT 1 and 2 exams. SAT 2s are subject tests. Now, most students who are applying to other countries outside of the US or Canada won't need the SAT, but some students, if you haven't done the full IB, some students might want to take an SAT or 2 to enhance their profile. It can be used instead of missing, like if you're missing something in your application or you haven't taken that specific course, sometimes an SAT score can be submitted in lieu of another document. So it doesn't hurt to take one if students feel like that might enhance their profile. They don't have to, it's optional. TOEFL is the test of English as a foreign language. You can also take the IELTS. There are different ones in different regions. I know your students speak English. They're studying in English every day. Some universities will still require a test just to show that they are able to study in English at the university level. So it's usually required of students who are from non-English speaking country passport. They have a passport from a non-English speaking country. This is the time to apply for financial aid, federal aid, using the FAFSA or the CSS profile, that is institutional aid. And again, this is for the US. Institutional aid can be applied for using the CSS profile. You complete it and it can be sent to the different universities that you're asking for aid. right around now, students are kind of finalizing their short list. They're adding their colleges in Bridgeview, so I know where they're applying. They're finishing up their essays or starting their essays. They're sharing those for proofreading. I can read those. You can read those. Their teachers can read them if they feel comfortable. They're asking for letters of recommendation if they haven't already. And there's not the form is actually on Bridgeview. So they actually formally request a letter of recommendation through Bridgeview. There's a place there that says recommendations. They click on it and an email is sent. Then they could send an email through Bridgeview to the teacher requesting a letter of recommendation. And then they all get stored there. Recommendations are confidential, by the way, so they're not shared with students. They are loaded onto Bridgeview and then sent out to universities through whatever platform, but they're stored in Bridgeview and they're not shared with students. And the reason for that is that a letter that is written confidentially has more weight. If universities know that the letter has not been edited for content, knowing a student will see it, they know that letter has more weight. So we don't share the letters with students, and we encourage teachers, to only say yes if they can write a positive letter for a student. So students will know if they go to a teacher and the student says, I'm sorry, I can't write for you, which I hope won't happen to any of our students. But we've asked teachers to say no if they don't feel that they can write a positive one. So they'll know that the people who are writing for them are writing in support of their application. Attend college fairs, talk to reps, ask questions. That's what I was saying earlier. That's super important. And then apply by the deadline. This is probably the most important thing, because if you miss the deadline, you missed it. There isn't like a second chance at that. We do have early action and early decision deadlines in November. So November 1st and 15th are usually those early action or early decision deadlines. And then regular deadlines fall in the new year, in January or February, for most country systems, in fact. Unless you're applying to Australia, you want to apply now, around now, for February entry, and then in June for July entry. I don't know how many students go to Australia from here. I was living in Bali before this. And then semester 2, students can apply for scholarships through the application process, and they might be eligible just by applying. They might, depending on where they're from or their grades, they can be eligible for scholarships through the application process. But in addition to that, they can research on the university websites for...
Sorry, I have a question.
Yeah.
Before we move on. For the SAT, will the school help with the preparation? I mean, the students will get help from the school, or they have to do it by themselves, or to get help outside of the school?
That's a great question. So you mean like an SAT prep course? Is that what you're referring to?
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, so we don't offer an SAT prep course. However, I would say that the SAT is modeled on, content that students are learning in class every day. So they've updated the SAT, they've made it more relevant, and they've modeled it on like class learning and content that students are getting every day. And in an IB program, they're really getting a strong program. So I would say, they don't need to have an SAT prep course. They do by taking the PSAT. This is another perk of the PSAT. The students have access to Khan Academy, KHAN, and that is a free SAT prep course offered through in conjunction with the College Board who creates the SAT. So they actually do have a built-in SAT prep course. It's just not a class that they take in school, but they can access that at any time. That's a great question.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. And again, I recommend that they take it more than once. The scores tend to go up on the second sitting, just for familiarity with the test.
If by any chance we want the student to take the prep course, does the school have a recommendation? Is there something here in Rabat?
You know what? That's a great question, and I don't know the answer to that. So I'm going to look into that and let you know. Can I ask your name? Is this,
sorry?
Can I ask your name?
Yes, this is Delia, Rodrigo's mother.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
I'll let you know.
Comment on this is Chris speaking.
Hi.
There are a number of providers of test or SAT prep in Rabat. In Riyadh, there is the Princeton Review, I believe. There's actually my organization, Amadis, that offers it as well. There are several others, so there's quite a number of other options. The other comment I would add, just some taking up time here, is you've mentioned, Rachel, the importance of virtual fairs. There'll be a very large virtual fair that's sponsored by the United States Department of State. It should be in mid-December. It's targeting the MENA region, that is the Middle East and North Africa. I don't yet know all of the numbers of universities that will be participating, but because it's virtual and it's sponsored by the Department of State, I imagine it'll be very well attended. And I can certainly share more information about that. My organization works in helping organize that, and we have a person that participates in it as a college advisor as well. But anyway, I can share more information, but it'll be primarily targeting students from the MENA region, and specifically those that want to study in U.S. higher education. Thanks.
Okay.
Thank you so much for sharing that. That's really great information to have. Can I get your name again?
Yeah, this is Chris Shin, Shinn.
Okay, thank you, Chris. And yeah, if you could send me that information, I'll get it out, get it out to students and parents. That would be wonderful. I do get regular mailings. Literally every day I get several, and all of the universities are now offering virtual visits. So this is great to have a big fair coming. That's amazing. I'm happy to hear that. And then anytime students want to check on individual universities, they can look at the options that I've listed on the virtual visits document, which is posted every Friday in the hotline. And posted for students, I'll have to get it out to grade 11. I'm writing myself a note. But it's posted for students. We have a college counseling Google Classroom. So I post that document there as well for them. College visits, okay, great. So semester 2, students are finding out their decisions from around March to April, and they're comparing offers, seeing if they if they made the cut, and then we encourage students to make a deposit at only one school. That's in the US or Canada. They can only deposit at one school. So that lets the school know, yes, I plan to come. That's May 1st. And then for students applying to European schools, the same thing. They're going to be finding out their admissions decisions and selecting the one that works for them. Of course, for UCAS, if they have predicted grades that are pending or they have conditional offers, they have to wait to see if they've met those offers. If they get an outright offer, then they can accept that offer. But many of the offers are, like I said, conditional, so they'll have to wait until the actual grades are out. So that's when students are focusing on their IB exams, really working hard on those to get those final grades that they're hoping for. once they are accepted and have decided on a university, they'll go for their student visa, and they'll be having usually an interview for that. And then they'll be sending their IB results to the selected university through IBO. And many universities will offer some college credit for, they'll say if you've achieved 5 or above, we'll give you college credit for these courses, or for certain total overall scores. They can often offer college credit. So it's a great opportunity for students to save money, actually, because you can have even up to a whole year sometimes waived at the college level because of your scores on those IB exams, or just have some of the courses offset that you won't need to take at university because you've already been considered to have completed those. So that's a great opportunity for our students, and then off they go to university. Making it sound so simple. Any other questions at this time? I know we're out of time. We've gone over. I apologize. But I'm here. If there are any other questions, please feel free to ask.
Hello, Rachel.
Yes.
Hi, I was just curious about the timing a little bit. You're talking about decisions come in March to April, compare offers, and then make a deposit at a school. How long does a school usually give you to make a decision once the offer is out?
Well, so it depends. That's a great question. So if you applied, for example, and again, this is US based. So if you applied early action, which means you apply to a number of universities early, you find out early, but there's no binding commitment, like an early decision commitment, then you still have until May 1st. So you would find out in December that you've been accepted, but you wouldn't be obligated to respond to that offer until May 1st. May 1st is really the day. So for other universities, if you're applying regular decision, which is usually January, you'll find out anytime between March and April, and then you have until May 1st. It really depends on when you receive the decision. Some schools have rolling admissions, so they're as soon as you submit your application, they're processing it and letting you know. So not every school is different, but there are kind of a couple different ways that the admissions happen. But the sort of traditional style, if you're applying regular decision, you'll find out between March and April, and you make your decision on May 1st.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Other questions? Don't be shy. Okay, well, thank you very much, all of you, for being here today and for your great questions. And I've got a few follow-ups, and I appreciate that because I'm learning from you as well. So please feel free to email me with any questions you might have that come up along the way. And I look forward to meeting with you grade 12 parents in the next couple weeks, hopefully, together with your son or daughter, and then grade 11 parents for sure, second semester as we start your son or daughter's university selection process. Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rachel.
Welcome.
Bye.
Good night.
Good night.